Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm Tom Lenk.
I'm Adam Sass.
I am Zachary Patton Garcia.
I'm Brett White.
And I'm Ian Carlos Crawford, and welcome to 5 gays yelling about Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I'm so glad I have all five of us here. Adam joined me when we did 5 gays yelling about the Rise of Skywalker. But now we're here to talk about Multiverse of Madness, and I want everyone to just I'm going to call on each of you, give like what your thoughts were. Zach, go first.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I saw this twice because the first time I was not super happy with it. I left pretty disappointed, not in the way it was made, but more in our favorite character, Wanda, right? Saw it the second time, liked it a lot more, but still had the same problems with Wanda's arc in it. And I think that is where my problem lies. I think Doctor Strange is incredibly boring. The whole movie hinged on Wanda, and they kind of, I don't know, she still didn't find no happiness in this one. And I was a little bit upset with that. And then it felt like there was a middle chapter missing too. So I don't know.
All right. Tom.
This movie is a mess. You should. I mean, I've seen some of the things of the Marvel things, but you shouldn't have to see 22 different movies and TV shows to understand what's happening in a movie. I then looked up, and it obviously had multiple directors, and you can tell that there were problems. Sigh.
I want to point out that Tom texted me at 3:30 in the morning last night to say, what in the name of drag queen Charlize Theron did I just watch? Adam, I know you will be our dissenting voice. What did you think?
I thought it was like a whole lot of fun. I think it was a whole lot of fun. I think everyone takes this character extremely personally. I understand that she means a lot to a lot of people's own personal trauma. So I do try to take this at like a character point of view versus like whatever she means to me personally. But I feel like a big part of the discourse surrounding the end of WandaVision was that she enslaved this town and kind of tried to get out of it by saying like, you're right. I I shouldn't have done that. So I don't know if the arguments about like, she had an arc, she was done with that arc, she was done being wild about so I don't know if I'm going to be super on board with like the like, this person who was capable of doing that, like just had to have a little like come to Jesus shake awake moment. I think this is absolutely in line with what she's been through, we'll get into this in deeper levels, but I thought on just a movie front, like if you take out the cameos, which I thought were like the silliest parts of it, and if you kind of divorce it from people's feelings about WandaVision, I thought it was an extremely fun. I was happy to be scared for the first time ever in one of these movies. I thought she was an incredible villain. This felt like the first time since Thanos that there was really a villain I cared that would seemed like unstoppable. That seemed like was going to be a real problem. That wasn't like, okay, let's get to the part where Ethan Hawke is dispatched. Like it felt like, okay, we're dealing with something that's very serious. So it had weight and gravity for me. And I think there's a whole host of issues with it, but I think in general, I had a big, spooky, fun time getting scared and getting to see Elizabeth Olsen really act her ass off and kind of go out with a bang. And I think anybody who thinks this character is gone, like is not like had one eye open on a comic book ever before. So, those are my feelings and I will expand on them later.
And Brett, I know you have a lot of feelings. I read your piece. I did agree with you. Try to give us what you felt when you left the theater.
No, like I spent the entire movie, I love the Marvel Universe. I love these movies. And I also give them all a lot of benefit of the doubt, a lot of leeway. Like I literally do like every single one of them. I even like this one is my least favorite besides Incredible Hulk. And I'm still like, I didn't hate it, but what I think when these movies hit on all cylinders and like really pull audiences in is when the characters are going through something, when they are learning something, when there is like actual emotional, gravitas, something to it. Like, I mean, and this movie had absolutely none of that. No characters learn anything. No characters go like through anything. No one wants anything. Like it is such a hollow shell of a movie. Like, what is Doctor Strange's arc? He learns to bow to Wong. Like, and what really frustrates me though is that I do not have a problem with the beats of Wanda's story in this movie. Like, it absolutely makes sense. She has been corrupted by the Darkhold. She wants her kids. She is, rampaging, unstoppable. And yes, she should, air quote, die at the end. All of that, it is true to the canon. It makes true to the character, like comics. Like, that is all perfectly sound. What is not sound is the storytelling of it. The fact that she is already at an 11 at the very beginning of the movie is like, oh, she's just fully crazy. The nuanced, deep character that we saw in WandaVision is completely gone. And she's gone because she's possessed by the Darkhold, which no one tries to free her of. Everyone acts like it's a foregone conclusion. Oh, no, she's gone. Just forget her. Let's just try and kill her. When also at the very beginning, when we think she's good, she says like, well, I did, I freed all those people. And Doctor Strange says, yes, we know you did. Like, I never had any doubt you would do that because you're inherently good. Yeah. And then later on, when they're at the Illuminati and Professor X looks at everyone, he's trying to convince them all like, hey, we can't just let people be defined by one moment. There can be, they can make good choices. And is he talking about Wanda? Of course not. He's talking about Doctor Strange. He's talking about a character who went evil for like 5 seconds of a flashback and not the actual leading character of the Marvel Universe who is going through something right now. So just the entire abandonment of it and the refusal of the movie to acknowledge that Doctor Strange and Wanda Maximoff are incredibly similar. Doctor Strange has as much blood on his hands, but he just skates by. He's everyone's favorite. He caused half of the planet half of the universe to disappear. He could have destroyed the time stone immediately, and he didn't. I just rewatched No Way Home. He broke the entire multiverse because he let a kid keep distracting him. And then he answers to none of those crimes. The Illuminati are after him for a thing he might do instead of all the shit he has done. And so, like, the beats of this movie make sense, but it just does not hang together in any type of emotionally cathartic way, which is what these movies almost always do. So I'm going to log off now. Is that everything?
Claps, snaps, all of it. Okay.
I did love the horror stuff. Like, I do think that it is a marvel and, like, magnificent that Sam Raimi was able to do legit terrifying horror shit in the MCU without sacrificing his voice. I'm angry at Kevin Feige or whoever is the continuity wizard of the MCU for not even like getting in the edit bay and being like, can we just like insert some of the most emotionally affecting scenes of WandaVision at this moment just so viewers understand any of the stakes. Instead, they just have a couple of scenes of Billy and Tommy being cute. And it's like, these are bad scenes. Anyway, I'll stop.
But Brett, like, do you see have?
It's not your turn. It's Ian's.
Oh, Zach got to interrupt with his little snaps thing. But anyway,
okay. If you have a fight, if you have a counterpoint, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go. Go.
So I feel like maybe Zach and I are both in the middle here because I actually do agree with. I agree with you, Adam, about it was really nice that they have like horror. I think Sam Raimi is not a good superhero movie director because I feel like we looked at those movies. Twitter sometimes looks at those Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies through like rose-colored glasses, and they weren't good then. They're not good now. Him and Kirsten Dunst have negative chemistry. And I think the horror stuff worked, but then for me, sometimes, like, I was very happy when he fucking poked that eye out from the Shumagorath tentacle monster. I was like, yes, this is horror, this is gross, and that was already, like, grosser than most things we had seen in the Marvel Universe. That made me very happy. I think the movie is messy but fun, so I understand why, Adam, you had a lot of fun with it, because it is, once you told me to, like, treat it as, like, you just gotta accept this is what they're doing to Wanda, the second time I was able to enjoy it more. So I am glad I saw it twice. But I do think the Wanda stuff just like did not work for me. because it's like the whole point of WandaVision was like, and Agatha, going back to the Darkhold, the thing that makes me crazy is everyone who's arguing, well, the Darkhold, Agatha had the Darkhold for arguably longer than Wanda did, and she did not become a terrorist. She just like was like more like a Catwoman type villain, like, haha, these stupid people, I'm having fun. And she like murdered 0 people in the course of WandaVision. Wanda's second scene, she murders an army of magicians. And I felt like we needed just, to Tom's point of like, you shouldn't have to watch everything. I felt like we needed to get there rather than start there if we were going to do that. Or if we're going to start there, have her slowly redeem herself. Like she starts realizing, oh shit, I'm becoming the bad guy. And because Elizabeth Olsen, I mean, I feel like we can all agree she's a very good actor.
She's the best actor in this movie.
Like she is a great actor. And I actually think she does the thing, because I always relate everything back to Buffy. Sorry, Tom. That Sarah Michelle Gellar does really well, where like she gives you 1,000 emotions in like 2 glances. And it's always conveyed like in such a good way. So I will disagree with you, but I did like the emotional beats of the kids always worked. I will say, where the fuck was Vision? I don't understand why he wasn't in this movie. It felt like when an actor like goes to jail or like you find out is like a rapist or murderer and they're like, well, we're going to completely cut that character out and no one's mentioning the character. That's what that felt like with Vision for me. It kept being like, when is he coming in? He's got to have a cameo. The Wanda stuff, and I think, was it Sam Raimi in that interview with Rolling Stone, Brett?
Yes, yeah.
Yes. Sam Raimi said he didn't watch WandaVision, and for me it was like, oh, well, that's really obvious.
He didn't know it even existed until they were already filming, which is insane.
Which feels weirdly sloppy for Marvel.
Yes.
But he replaced the initial director.
He did,
right?
Yes. Which I'm sure is tough, especially with Marvel, because I'm sure they're so like strict with their shit. I'm sure
they've
that's
probably
really
already done so much stuff before Sam Raimi even got there, because that's
Wait, no, was I reading correctly? This movie was supposed to come out before Spider-Man 3, and so
and before WandaVision, which
so
I don't understand.
Constant changes because of the script that was changing on Spider-Man. I feel like we should start at the beginning of this movie, which is sort of like there's 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden it's like, hi, I'm Wanda and I'm the bad guy and you're here and I'm sort of Russian for like 10 seconds and then it turns out you're not an apple orchard. What was that? What was happening? That's like sort of the start of the movie, I guess.
That's been the last 7 years of that character. So that's one Easter egg done. Was that shaky accent?
The accent, unfortunately, I don't know if this is me projecting just because, like you said, Adam, because it's always been that way, right? I don't want to shut up. I just said she was a great actress, but
well, no, I mean, again, it's just one of those things. It's like Halle Berry's Storm, where it's just like there was an initial choice made, it didn't click, and then like progressively they just tried to like siphon it away bit by bit, movie by movie until it was gone.
But that scene was like, oh, you're looking for me for help? I'm the bad guy. I'm now setting up the plot for the whole movie.
Yeah, it was like super quick. So like I completely agree with you, Adam, that like this is where she was going. We saw it already in WandaVision. Like at the end of WandaVision, this was clearly like the through line. But it did feel like there was a missing chapter where if they're going to say it's the Darkhold that really took hold of her and made her this way, or like, really, really got into that darkness within her and took advantage of that, then we should have seen the steady maddening of that, because we didn't see that, because at the end of WandaVision, she was remorseful and we got that, right? That show, and like to say that we should just kind of accept that we go from WandaVision to this one and not really question it and like be okay with, that we enter this movie and she's immediately big bad. I just don't like that, because you give us so much with WandaVision, and WandaVision really was something that was just, it was this diamond, man. It was like so good, and it really made me fall in love with Marvel. And then you go from her having done something really fucked up and being remorseful about it, but still really dabbling in those dark arts, to just, she's just big bad now. And there was, I needed that buildup of that maddening. It felt very Daenerys Targaryen,
Well, also, I don't remember what the last moment. Did she get this book at the last moment in the
She
last
got it
scene of
from
WandaVision?
Agatha. Yeah.
But that's not what I remember. So we're supposed to have remembered the very last second from this thing that came out a year and a half ago.
It was the post-credit scene too.
Yeah.
Oh, is that why I don't remember? Because
well, no, she had it in the whole last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the post credits is her like in her costume, astral projecting, going through it, and also hearing Billy and Tommy scream out
Where
for
was
help.
that? Because that was a whole different like setup than this
Which
right
also,
here.
like that would like if they had touched on that. If Wanda's like, no, listen, my Billy and Tommy are out. I'm not going to be killing another Wanda.
Right.
The Billy and Tommy of the 616, which, oh my God, nerds, I'm sorry that your numbering is now messed up.
I will say to that point, on like the second, I was like, wait, maybe do we think what she was hearing was the kids running away from her? Like she
That's what
heard
I
it
was
as like
gonna say. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on your toes, Adam. Go ahead.
No, it was a lot of blurting. But yeah, so I was trying to respect the don't interrupt anybody thing.
Well, now we can go. Everyone gave their beginning take.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say I was like, oh, okay, I think we're doing it. No, I think that is to me what kicked it off, which is like it's a classic kind of Greek tragedy thing. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy where she hears these kids in trouble. It's where she finally realizes that in other realities, in other universes, they exist, they are fine, and she's hearing like they're in trouble, but it's actually like she's hearing their screams of terror like about her own presence.
Well, see, I don't remember that. Like, maybe give us a previously on another Marvel thing at the beginning of this movie. Like, it should not
I don't
be
think that's required. I think it's like neat for people who remembered. It's not like required to like appreciate.
But it establishes absolutely no stakes for this movie. Halfway through the movie, I'm like, just let her go to the universe. I don't care. Let her. It's not going to bother me in this universe. So why do I care? I don't give it.
That is the thing that frustrates me is that this should be what reshoots and editing tweaks are for, because even as the movie was shot, if you just insert the scene, instead of having that weird dream where Wanda's like tucking them in and it's all cutesy, show the scene where they die. Yeah. And then show like you have that footage. Yeah. Like maybe she's dreaming of those moments. And I think those moments, which again, they own the rights to, they have, those moments sell it way more than the like kind of Modern Family deleted scenes that we got with them.
Yeah. To try to like even start from the beginning, I do think it's weird, right? I don't love too much setup, but I felt like this movie needed a little bit of setup. Cause like we start.
I feel like if we had gotten I feel like everyone would be complaining about that. They would like, oh, we've seen that 10 million times. This is a 2.5 hour movie now. Well, like we would have had a whole different set of complaints.
I do think this one should have been a 2.5 hour movie at least. I think this one they were doing so much with it. They really were doing a lot with it. I mean, I'm glad. I'm so happy it was not jam packed with cameos because, like, I was worried that Spider-Man was going to set a precedent for that, and then they were going to try to do that for everything now. But there should have been something, like maybe the walk home with the kids, Vision and Wanda. You know, like something in there to kind of. Because I guess that's a question I have for everybody is like, because there's that question going around now is like, for the Marvel fans who are watching everything, is that reward like paying off, or should the casual viewer be able to like fit in perfectly in here?
You know, that's actually why I love having Tom on for these episodes, because the ones you do enjoy, you enjoy. But so, Tom, I'm curious what your answer would be for that question, because I know you are a very casual viewer.
To me, it feels slightly disrespectful. You're like, I paid $25 to see this movie, and you're saying I need to have a paying membership for all these other things to understand a movie. I don't know, but also it's like, what do you want? It's the Marvel universe. It's what you signed up for, Tom. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about it.
But I don't know, to that point, that's extremely fair. Like, and I'm the first person to just be like, oh, I don't remember that thing from that movie, 17 years ago. But I feel like the only thing this movie really required you to remember was WandaVision. Like, the rest of it is, like, cute, but, like, to get the story, to get what's going on, like, I can see, like, the Illuminati scene being, like, impenetrable unless you completely know what's happening. But
I mean, I
Like
was
I don't know. Right.
Who's is this Captain UK or Captain Great Britain? Who's that lady?
Basically, yes. She was Captain America's girlfriend in the first Captain America movies.
I feel like
Okay,
this
I
movie
didn't
was
know that.
made during a time before any of the shows came out where they were betting on
Yeah.
WandaVision will be received okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But what if is going to be the thing everyone's talking
Absolutely,
about?
absolutely. It feels like
right.
they kind of already set up their next couple of steps, and then WandaVision was such a success that like you can't really backtrack all these steps of all of these different productions that are already going, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Brett, I'm curious if you know this. You always seem to know the behind the scenes stuff.
Oh boy.
When did they add the children? Because those scenes were clearly, like, very clearly added in, but the kids, they didn't look that much older, and I feel like small children grow faster.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, they finished all of WandaVision, including the, like, post-COVID reshoots, all the outside scenes that they shot, you know, 6 months after they finished everything indoors. They finished that, and then Elizabeth Olsen in production, like, they went right into Multiverse of Madness. So they probably shot all those kids scenes early on. I mean, maybe that's what they changed because of WandaVision, was like, oh, we got to put those kids in now. Like, we actually know who they are. It's not just... That's also why I do not buy or I don't give Sam Raimi a pass, because it's like the scripts were written.
Yeah.
Like, the footage was shot. Elizabeth Olsen on set could say, like, actually, I think that maybe I should do XYZ. Like, just, yeah. That's why I get angry.
Those kid actors didn't age because Disney has some like MGM golden era of Hollywood drugs.
Take these, you won't get older.
Pills to wake them up, pills to put them to sleep.
Exactly. Whatever. Like
Give me
they
that
put
shit.
whatever they
Garland
put
was
Judy Garland on. Yeah.
Sparkle, baby, sparkle.
Adam and Zach, if you could both do that for me for the podcast, just give me the drug to wake up. And
I already gave you the fucking drugs right before we did this.
Yeah.
Come on now, calm down.
We're farming you out, hon. Well, so speaking of Judy Garland, I wanted to make my case for this film on get this, because I wanted to make this. So again, here's my thing. So this is so like Tom, contrary to what I've been like saying on here, like I'm not an MCU. Like I don't know. I think when we were doing WandaVision together, like there was a cow nurse. There was a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch.
I did like them referencing Mount Wundagore in this movie.
Yes. Okay. So listen, there is a whole bunch of other movies that are either bland or hooier than this movie. So I think it's real rich to lay all the sins of the MCU on this movie.
I hope nobody's doing that because it doesn't deserve it. This is
everyone has been angrier about this movie than I have. I've seen them about some of the. That's kind of my thing where I was like, oh, so we're angry now. Okay,
it's a really fun movie. It is a really fun movie. Like all of the scenes with Wanda as Big Bad are fantastic. She is so good at all of this.
She is serving Kill Bill level performances, and it's here's my thing.
Hot take though, is she, or is she talking like this most of the time?
No. She's doing a phenomenal job.
No, just listen. She's suppressing her anger, and she's talking, and she's just riding on the vocal cords.
She's grieving. She's grieving.
It's all performance. Y'all are too precious about Wanda. Get over it.
Get him off. Get him off, Ian.
Okay, so what I will say is what I really loved about this is I felt like there was more of an aesthetic, I think to me, I don't normally, when I watch something, I'm not like so super like this. My thing is like, I will always go towards, if there's an aesthetic and a vibe, I will always go towards that versus super cohesive storytelling. Like I never too plucked about, oh, the storytelling wasn't tight. If there's really strong vibe and that sort of thing. And I was really feeling it with this one because I feel what they were doing with this was really, really, really like old Hollywood level, scary, like super simple Wizard of Oz stuff. Like this is a Wizard of Oz story. There is a witch who is after an okay, all right. I'll let you have your say. I think there was like, because you have this America Chavez character who is frankly non-written, which is unfortunate.
We need to spend about 10 minutes talking about her next.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I like, here's the thing. I don't know who this character is. Everybody was so pumped and like, she's got to walk around Disneyland character. Like, people were about this character, because it was like, queer woman, all this stuff that like did not translate into the person we saw on screen.
They ignored literally all of it.
But I will say,
Sure.
I liked what you gave me. Adam gave me that. I didn't want to say it when I was giving my like how you helped me like enjoy it a little bit more, but 'cause I wanted you to be able to say your theory. But I did think that's a good like way of looking at it, to be able to like let go and let God / Disney like just be like, all right, this is what we're doing. Because it is like, an evil witch, blah blah blah. I do want to talk about America, but I want to talk. I'm going to be that insufferable Twitter person right now. I don't think Sam Raimi I don't think he's good with women. I don't think any women in any of his movies ever have agency other than I'm running away and scared. And that was no different in this movie because the only women that could do anything all died. And that was like a very big point of contention for me. And Adam, you and I even talked about this. America really, like, in the comics, she is the epitome of a character Ian loves. She's like, fashionable, she's confident, she's sassy, she's the strongest member of the team.
I mean, she's Faith.
Yes.
The same, like, she has Faith's entire vibe. And what pissed me off is she can still do the exact same shit. She can still be running, she can still get damseled, she can still get captured, but she should be punching Shumagorath in the face.
Yes.
And it's just like that. Like, she doesn't have to be completely wimpy. She can still do all of the damselly stuff Sam Raimi needs her to do. But can't she stomp someone?
Right.
Like, why is she so scared? She's clearly been running around with ponytail Doctor Strange for a while.
Yeah.
She's gone on adventures. Just, she doesn't even have to know how to use her powers.
Right.
But she should know how to throw a punch.
Right.
Like, because that is an essential part of her comic book character from the very beginning. It's like they adapted Captain America and were like, he doesn't talk about America at all,
So
I have a question. Oh no, go ahead, Adam.
No, you go ahead. I'm not.
Well, it was just a question about the comics because I haven't read the comics. So like they're using America in here, right, to like get through the multiverse, right? Like that's her big star power.
Literally,
yeah.
Is there ever a moment in the comics where Wanda literally uses her grief to rip open the multiverse? Because that's where I thought we were going to go.
Sort of.
Kind of.
Yes.
Kind of.
Well, that's what House of M is her anguish and grief. Well, and also, like, so Avengers Disassembled is when she finds out that she had children that they made her forget about 10 years prior, which it's insane. And then she like loses it and kills a bunch of Avengers and blah, blah, blah. And they're like, so that's why, honestly, the beats of Wanda's story in this movie make total sense or totally right. It's just the storytelling.
It's just such a mess of like, okay, so wait, everyone has magic and anyone can do anything. It's sort of Alice in Wonderland. They can go anywhere. No, up is down. No means yes. Yeah, we can do whatever. Whose power is better? Well, I think Wanda's more powerful than Doctor Strange, but can Professor X, like, whose power trumps who? It was just like, what are the rules? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was chaos.
Well, yeah,
I mean, they get around it by saying it's the Multiverse of Madness. We'll call it madness so that nothing has to make any sense.
I do want to talk about, so I want us to keep on America for a little bit. Because Adam, I thought you had some, as a YA author who writes young adult characters, I would like to hear your take on, I mean, we kind of already talked, but we talked about it on the phone, not the recording.
Sure. So, I mean, anyway, so like, again, what everyone is saying is super valid. I'm just thinking of this movie in terms of just like archetypes where I'm like, it's like, it didn't bother me that like, oh, we did not get a full 20 minutes of like watching her ramp up to evil. I'm not trying to like minimize or belittle that we didn't get that. I'm just thinking of like, okay, classic movies like Wizard of Oz, like we're not, like, she's just the witch from the jump. She just goes for it. She just starts attacking. And then, through shows like Wicked and Maleficent and Cruella, we're just like, they're not evil. They have 2 hours of backstory in which they're not actually the villain whatsoever. Kind of removing the scariness of each of those characters. So I liked that we kind of just jumped into this because I'm like, we've seen 12 times with Wanda. Like we've seen her in a lot of stuff. We've seen the ramp up. So for this movie, I was not super bothered that we did not we just like, okay, let's just get into it. Let's just jump in. So, but about America specifically, my issue, this is where we get into my problems, which is, so for me, I just viewed her, I was like, okay, they're having her be like wide-eyed Dorothy. Like we're just having like, and again, and Doctor Strange basically filled the Glinda role, which is by the end of the movie, he's like, you always had the power within you. Like it's really, they're following the same like skeleton. Not to say it's like identical films. I'm just saying like that was the skeleton they were following, which is witch in a giant mountain castle is. So that's why I felt like the aesthetics and the classic materials they were pulling from is what helped me just drop in and lock into this versus like really getting distracted by all the like mini threads that really weren't going anywhere with this. So my problem though with America is that like, I think in this movie, I was like, okay, she's just like the teen character. She's fine. I think the problem turns into when you do know stuff like what Brett knows, which is that like this character has a completely different vibe. And like the very cool stuff we could have gotten with her, but did not because of the limitations of the filmmakers. My big worry for the future is Young Avengers, because every Young Avenger we have met so far is the same. I'm a teen. Like there really hasn't been a very definitive, like maybe Kate Bishop has.
I would say her. Yeah.
But that's a maybe.
Is America one of the Young Avengers?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so like we keep meeting and like hopefully Miss Marvel. Like I mean like we're gonna get into hopefully, but like I feel like we're getting a lot of like teen characters, and this is the problem we run into in YA Lit. Which is, the good thing is that there's a lot of rep versus kind of more adult stuff. So you're getting a lot more diversity. You're getting a lot more like voices that have not been seen and are really in charge of their own narratives. Unfortunately, sometimes like because of like people get too nervous to make a decision because they're like, oh, I don't want to have her be like mean or unlikable or whatever. Like, so like, we're not going to have her say a thing or make a joke or push forward in any way. So they get these really talented, actors sometimes behind the scenes, I think, and then like the script really doesn't take them there. Like it does not give them much to really chew on. And in general, that's an MCU issue as well. It characters are either super wry and, Thor movie type, or they are like really, really square. And then they can be funny because they're so square. But they're usually square or wry.
I do think, unfortunately, the squareness tends to fall on a lot of the women, right?
Yes.
In the MCU.
Well, I mean, you're putting Rachel McAdams in. She's forced to these red carpets she's been forced to do for this movie. Like, you can tell she hates it.
The wig.
The wig. Yeah.
So
anyway,
I'm wondering.
I've said my piece. There we go.
The wigs is a thing. I'm like, why they love a really bad red wig? That's like their favorite.
Okay, no, we're ignoring the elephant,
Doctor
or should I say
Strange.
the skunk in the room, which is Doctor Strange's wig. I'm literally starting a GoFundMe to get him a decent wig. That wig looks like it was at the bottom of my wig box, purchased at a Spirit Halloween store. What? If I were Benedict Cumberbatch, I would give $1 million of my $20 million salary just to purchase. And I know they spent $5,000 on that wig, but they need to spend $10,000. And even the $5,000, they're making it by hand, but they're making it by hand with thread made of plastic, shiny plastic, and then they can't even attach it to the back of his head properly, or just have him grow his hair out. And I just
dye it.
I've seen all these behind the scenes where they make the actors wear those like sensors, even in scenes where it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, well, do that and use some CG money to smooth out the lace front.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
They got it from the Spirit Halloween the day after it closed.
On sale.
It is a hard front. That is a hard front Halloween store wig. There's no lace to be found. It is so heavy and it has no
Bus
movement.
driver. Yeah.
It has no movement.
Tom, he was really proud of that wig. He was looking in the mirror. He was really happy with the way he looked in that. Just tear him down.
No, he's gone dead inside. He's like, well, I've had this same wig for 10 years now. I guess no one's gonna fix it.
He's happy with it. He was on the Power of the Dog set, just dreaming of getting back into that wig.
It is so low on his forehead. Like, it is nowhere near his actual hairline. Like,
I am very bad at noticing wigs, I will say, because for me, I thought his hair just looked like not great. Like, I was like, is that a wig? There's like a lot of bad gel in his hair. Like, I couldn't quite
but
tell.
is that the way his hair always looks?
No, his hair, because I just watched No Way Home last night, and his hair looked, I mean, not great, but better.
But for me, the wig that kept like, that I was like, this every scene, like whether it's shot from behind, the side, the front, was Rachel McAdams' wig. It was just...
Well, because they established her with her actual hair in the first part of the movie.
Right.
And then you give her this, like, Aquaman Amber Heard wig, and you're like, no.
In this universe, we all love Manic Panic.
Like, for me, that was the wig. It was like, it's sitting weird on her head and making her look like she has bad posture, which she is Rachel McAdams. She is flawless. She does not have bad posture.
Listen, I'm gonna keep simping and just say, like, it's Sam Raimi. It's a style choice. He's like, I'm doing a superhero movie. Fuck up the wig a little bit intentionally.
But Elizabeth Olsen's wigs were great.
Yes.
I will say that her face mask, they're like, oh, we 3D printed her mask. Look how cool it is. Like, it looks so cheap.
I mean, okay, I didn't love the costume at the end of WandaVision. I think I liked this one less. But it didn't, once we got in the movie, I was like, okay, I can, like, I feel like lots of times with the costumes, if I see like the photos, I'll be like, ugh. But then eventually I'm like, whatever, that's fine.
I just wish they would have made her hair like as big as it was at the end of WandaVision. It was big.
Oh, yeah.
It was nice.
Listen,
multiple wigs.
Zach, I felt like that hair was her like looking like one of our cousins. Like she looked like
Right.
she was
Cousin.
Well, she needed like she was, her motivation was so Reba. Yeah, her motivation was so Reba. So you need like Reba hair. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Did you think that Nev Campbell could have swapped in for Rachel McAdams in this?
Oh my
mean,
god.
It felt like the exact same performance I would get from Nev Campbell.
I mean,
You could have swapped anyone in, and literally anyone. Lisa Kudrow, anyone.
I would like that.
That the tone would have been great. I would have absolutely tipped me over.
I would have loved that.
Best
I mean,
picture.
they gave Rachel McAdams a little more to do, but still, it was just weird to me that like, I thought she was on the record saying like she wasn't going to do one unless she had, I thought she had the Natalie Portman thing where she was like, no, I hated doing this because I was just quote unquote woman in trouble and then did nothing.
I hope they gave her money. Just money,
Yeah.
money,
Yeah, I mean,
money,
when
money.
did she come back? Was it because I feel like Natalie Portman came back because, well, now it's a Taika Waititi thing. You're going to be the lead. And I wonder if like Rachel McAdams was like, oh, Sam Raimi. Yeah, I'll do that.
That's true. But right, Brett, didn't she like, wasn't she one of the people that was like kind of vocal about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, yeah. I mean, she's not like Hugo Weaving level vocal, but.
I could not believe that they were spending so much fucking time on this Christine and Strange storyline that I did not give a shit about.
Yes.
And like, it was so much.
Literally not invested.
It was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Adam, I was going to ask what you thought since you like, because it is weird, right? Like we haven't seen her since, when did Doctor Strange come out? Like
2016,
Oh,
right
listen.
before the election.
My standage for this extends purely beginning, middle, and end to the Wanda stuff. I don't like the
Fair.
rest of it can go down the toilet. I'm not trying to stay
That's fair.
here for the whole thing. And I love Rachel McAdams, and she had more to do than in the first one.
Right. But like,
But she had like a Famke Johnson, Jean Grey vibe in this one, where she's like, "I'm Lab Coat Woman. Lab Coat Woman is telling you what's going on."
Lab Coat Woman. Also, Lab Coat Woman thinks that she could break America out of that cell with like a fire extinguisher, and it's like, you built the cage.
It was the fact that she did not know how to open that cage. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing right now?"
She was like, "Welcome to my specifically scientifically designed box. You'll find it's quite inescapable through your superpowers. Hold on, I'm gonna try to break it."
What was she trying to turn? She was trying to turn a little like a silver knob at one point, and it's
And then she's like, come through this dungeon. It's here through this dungeon under the river. Like, okay. And then she's also wearing basically a Dr. Evil costume when she gets her coat off. And I'm
it's like
what?
these like weird scrubs that like
She
I
looks
don't.
like, I mean, she looks like if Jean Grey if Jean Grey joined the Fantastic Four, which is appropriate considering the Illuminati, aka the only scene that I liked.
Oh, bleep. But they did that. Like, hold on, this scene with the breaking her out of the cage had some of the best. This is when I knew I was loving the movie, because they were doing some goofy Spielberg suspense editing where Wanda kept getting closer and then farther away.
God,
where I was like, how close is she?
That part was so dumb.
Wanda was walking like the end, like 4 a.m. after all the bars and your shoes hurt, and
Trying to find the Taco Bell drive-thru.
she's getting home.
Yeah, like I swear she was underneath the archway of the door, and then she was in the lobby again. I was like, wait a minute.
She turned into the Grudge character.
Yeah.
Well, and then like Professor X shows up, and they do that like Family Guy monkey pointing.
What was he in? Is that a comics thing? That looks like a carpet cleaner.
It wasn't a taxi cab. It was
It's the only thing that is good about this movie.
Wait, hold on, Zach, what did you just say?
I said it looks like a carpet cleaner. Have y'all seen an industrial carpet cleaner? He was riding around in isn't it supposed to float?
No,
it's the thing from the thing.
It's a convertible cab, New York taxi cab.
Let's go into the Illuminati. We're here.
There we go.
Zach, use your top voice. Take
I love
charge.
Peggy Carter. I thought she looked fucking fantastic.
Yes.
I wish we got a little bit more fight from her, and I would love a whole Peggy Carter movie.
The disrespect of slashing my beloved Peggy Carter in half. But I was at least glad she was like one of the last standing.
She did a good job going up against Wanda, Maxim. Like, good on Peggy, honestly.
Well, it reminded me one of those like Twitter, like stupid Twitter things where they're like, "Who's clearing, woman with gun or Wanda Maximoff?" Like, and it's just like they're just pitting two women together, and it's like, okay, clearly she's gonna tie. Like, we love her, but like, I'm not gonna put them together.
Yeah, what I would have loved was take out Strange, and it's like Wanda v. Scarlet Witch, right? And like it's Wanda from one of these dimensions, this dimension, whatever dimension we're in.
Oh,
and so she's teaming up with Peggy Carter, with Captain Marvel, with like, and it's like I want like a full like team up with all of these like badass women. Like I always want a woman team up, and like we never get that really.
We got it in Endgame
for like a second.
But like, imagine how like think back to Endgame and how wild the crowd went when they did team up like that. Right? Like give us that again. And this was like. This gave us like a glimpse into that. Like they did the little Doctor Strange glimpse into wherever, and we saw like a glimpse of that. So I hope that we can get something like that in the future, because that would be really nice.
Technical question for you. Is the Wanda in this universe also a Scarlet Witch? Like, did she have powers? And why, if she is a Scarlet Witch, why is she not able to use her Scarlet Witch powers to deflect the other Scarlet Witch?
You didn't see she was under a door? She was under a door.
She was under a few... Wait.
So I had a theory. So I had a theory to this where I was consoling Ian to be like, here's why she's not really gone. And I was like, basically to be like, here's why she will immediately show up in the next thing and don't grieve. Is because because again, like, so like she knew as soon as she snapped out of it, she knew immediately, like, she wasn't like, where am I? She had a moment of like, ah, shit, I got to get out of here. And she did
it really
that.
was that.
She really right away was like, oh God, I got to fly up into this door now. There was she didn't even look for where the door was. Right. So my feeling is this universe, the Illuminati universe, like everyone knows about the multiverse here. Like, so like, I feel like taking it at its face value, because this universe also, like, by the time she shows up at the end, like those kids know there's a witch coming. They know how their mom got possessed. The mom, like, it feels like there's an enormous amount of knowledge that Avengers have in this universe.
Yeah.
Versus other ones. So I feel like
they all talk to each other, unlike in ours.
Oh yeah.
They're all just like, peace out.
Like this is the Wanda.
See you next summer.
Yeah.
Wanda probably lost vision in this universe, and they probably comforted her, gave her a little bit of solace.
There we go.
Some counseling, something. Because whatever shit show universe she's in, nobody gives a fuck about her.
That was the thing.
Yeah,
I feel
the Hawkeye connection is so unused, because like that is what got her through Age of Ultron and Civil War, and like he's still around. I mean, it's Jeremy Renner, but he's still around.
Well, that's why.
Totally.
Yeah,
I feel like this was a universe where like this is a Wanda who was able to properly grieve and be supported, and come into her powers safely and not have to just turn to the Darkhold to solve things.
Yeah. So I, even with that theory, Adam, I don't know if you'll agree, but I feel like the reason our MCU's version of Scarlet Witch was able to like possess her is because our Scarlet Witch was corrupted by the Darkhold, so technically she was more powerful, right?
Right.
Yeah, I would say
that's like the reasoning I can do with that.
No prize.
But so I do want to talk about the Illuminati because I liked it, but I didn't. Because I will say, as Zach, what you just said, I kept being like, ooh, but I want like Doctor Strange is not that interesting, and this was immediately more interesting.
That is why I like. That's my favorite part of the movie is that because it's like, oh, I'm interested in these people.
Yeah.
These people have an interesting dynamic. I really liked like Baron Mordo was clearly like on the Illuminati, but very much like had something to prove and felt kind of like maybe he was like the Jerry Gergich of the Illuminati or something. Getting Patrick Stewart and actually dressing him in cosplay of the animated, like and down to the blue and black striped tie. I was like, this is the kind of stuff that I'm into. The way they kill Black Bolt, A+. Loved that. John Krasinski is horrible as Reed Richards, and only the most basic bitches wanted him to play that part, and I do not understand why there was a fan like campaign to get him cast. He's
because John Krasinski should be on every screen. What are you talking about?
God, he's so bad in this.
I thought he was good.
Give him to me for 5 minutes. I loved it. Loved it.
He was killed the easiest, so... but I love that they did the animated series leitmotif for like 5 seconds.
Yes.
I completely annoyed the shit out of my husband in the theater. I was like, it's the 5 seconds to the song from the 92 movie.
So Tom, when Professor Xavier comes in, that is in what, Brett? Like most of the 90s, that was the chair. He had a hover chair instead of a wheelchair.
Yeah, his yellow hover chair. Like that was his most, iconic thing. It was in the cartoon.
He had it in the animated series, and when he comes out, they play like just a slight bit from the animated series.
That song that's like.
Yep. Oh, that was good, Tom.
Yeah, but that was good recall. But like I think it was like and they had him do the Professor X like touching his head like Professor X has never in any of the other movies like done the I'm touching my head and then the screen goes woogie woogie woogie, like they did it. Like I think it was great dumbass comic book stuff.
I did enjoy how she killed that man who uses his loud voice or whatever. What's
Black Bolt,
that was so good.
It was good.
That was a fun death. Like his own powers echoed around in his head and his head exploded. Who's Mordor? Why do they keep calling him Mordor? I'm like, why is there Lord of the Rings happening in Mordor?
Now Sauron's not in this movie.
But we were in the tower. We were in the tower of Sauron or whatever.
We kind of were. You're right. But Tom, what did you think of all these guys? Because I know you probably didn't know who any of them were except for maybe Professor X.
I was like, who's Captain Britain? I was like, I don't know. I liked the other lady though. Who's that?
The other Captain Marvel. Tom. So fun fact, that is the woman playing Captain Marvel is the mother of Monica, the agent from WandaVision.
In real life?
No. Like,
yes.
In the context of the universe of Marvel, she was Carol Danvers' best friend, and Monica was a kid, and that's how she knew Captain Marvel. I know. I now it doesn't matter.
I liked her. She was my favorite, and she seemed the most powerful. But that's the thing. Is like really Wanda's power is more. A lady whose name is Scarlet Witch is more powerful than this other lady who seems like she has the power of all space and time. Like I don't know.
It should have been a more. I liked the fight. It should have been a tad bit more intense and a little bit more like. Right. They should have been outside. I feel like I don't know, smashing into some buildings or something.
The thing I didn't enjoy was the like. Oh, here we are in the like Star Wars classic setup of like we're going in front of the board of directors and they'll be perched upon a high judge-like area that I will be below. Like the set there just seemed so cheap. Also, that was the thing. This movie fluctuates between like wildly expensive looking and then like the cheapest Friends New York rooftop that you've ever seen. And then sometimes the CGI of like Wanda floating, it looks like Lego people.
That is because I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, the movie like." and it looked beautiful sometimes, but then sometimes it looked like some of the cheapest Marvel stuff, and it was very weird. Like, I don't know why that was happening.
I felt so it's bad, but like I felt nostalgic because it felt like I was like, oh wow, this looks like the exact same like terrace that like Kirsten Dunst watched like Macy Gray perform right before Green Goblin did. Like, it took me back. But again, it was cheap, but it definitely was like, oh, okay, this is definitely some like early 2000s Raimi sets. Like down to the thing, like he did the thing where like no MCU thing really has done it, but like he did a ton in the Spider-Man movies was we're going to see lots of like citizen POV. We're going to see a lot of like people in their offices.
Purple person in office looking out the window screaming. I was like, yep, that's what Spider-Man do.
And it was like, this is so Spider-Man. Yeah.
Some of the worst extras acting I've ever seen in this movie. Like, first there was like woman with baby carriage screaming. Then there was like an old sea hag looking woman. And I was like, what is happening? Then that woman in the office building just giving wide-eyed. And I was like, she sent in like 3 self-tapes for this part and had to do a monologue. Because I've done recently those like an NDA you don't know what you're auditioning for, and you like get put through the ringer, and then it's probably for that part. So God. Oh God, these extras. Not that I was auditioning for an extra, please. But like
not the Tom Lenk.
I just wow.
So
yeah, wow.
The real quick to John Krasinski, like here's the thing. Obviously, going forward, they're not going to do Patrick Stewart again for Professor X with whatever they're going to do with this. So I feel like, are they going to do a thing where it's like, we're going to get John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic out of the way, and then we'll do it? Do we think he's just officially now? Or?
I think it was like an audition, right?
People want him and Olivia Wilde, or no, Emily Blunt. I get all those mixed up.
Right.
They want them to be Reed and Sue Storm. And my managing editor at Decider pointed out that the Fantastic Four movie just lost its director, and John Krasinski is now a blockbuster director. So
are they trying to do another Fantastic Four movie?
Yeah, no, they've already announced it.
We're doing
it. I trust. I think go on and do it. The Fantastic Four should be good. And they like
because it just has to be fun.
I mean, listen, I'll tell you, it was baffling to me a little bit, but like the of all the different audience like pops, like the biggest pop was for John Krasinski showing up as Mr. Fantastic. Like the return of Professor X in the hover chair didn't get crickets, but this was like, oh my god, like.
Is it just people that have watched The Office? Like, I do not understand the fascination. It is so bizarre to me.
Have you seen him? Like his face?
John Krasinski is just like an average-looking man like me, and then like he got a beard and a trainer, and people are like, "Hey, it's hot, so hot!" Like straight men, all they have to do is grow a beard, and all of a sudden they're a mom.
He looks sweet. He looks like a good person, like a good man.
Yeah, I was just saying. I will say,
a good person. You're like, I can tell about his character from the way he looks.
Wait,
I was like, he skirts a little. There's some skirting, so I don't know. Yeah,
but I will say, he was, as someone who avidly watched The Office when it was on, and it's not my favorite to revisit as much, but I still enjoy it. I always really had a crush on him because I thought he had a kind face.
He's approachable, good looks.
And I didn't even think, I thought Jim and Pam were insufferable. Even when I loved The Office, they reminded me of every straight couple who thinks their love is like so special. But like, I still really liked him. And I think he does have like a likability and then the hotness. And so for me, when those two go together.
Reed Richards, like that's why it's like so weird to me, because when I see John Krasinski, he's every man. He's not smartest man on earth. Like that's I don't know. But also I will give all of them a pass a little bit, because seems fairly obvious they were all performing alone
Separately,
in front of a
yes.
green screen.
Right.
So like, yeah, I mean, John Krasinski is just sitting in a green chair in front of a green wall.
I was
alone.
going to say that, especially him.
Oh,
Especially him. It felt like
you think
it was like
none of them were in the same room when they were filming. Okay,
Yeah.
got
It was
Yeah.
COVID. Yeah.
This makes
I mean,
sense.
like, here's the thing. Like, it's good. I mean, I know where we were like we were recently opining for like those big like huzzah like Endgame sort of ensemble
Yeah.
moments, and right now half the cast is quitting and the other half are refuse to get that vaccine. So I don't
Yeah.
really know like how there is that. We don't really have a clear event. We don't even. Here's my stress. I will say this in air quotes because I live fine with this stress. My stress is no one really knows where Phase 4 is going.
yeah, and they don't seem to know, right?
What's
No,
the-
yeah,
Right.
I was
What
just
does that
telling
mean?
my husband this like a couple hours ago because we're watching all the Marvel stuff in chronological order, and we just finished Hawkeye, and he was like, "So when is Phase 4 ending? Like, what is?" I was just like, "No, like, it's kind of just ongoing forever."
Phase
Yeah, and
4 is like, is the pandemic. It's like, so when are we out of
Yes.
Phase 4? And
Yeah.
it's like,
We're
oh, you
almost
just
done.
no.
We're back.
Phase 4 is just endemic now. You just
But what is
God.
Phase 4 again? Is it all this like dusting?
That was
Everything after Endgame basically
Yeah.
is because like what was cool was like Phase 2 and 3 we're building towards Thanos. Like every
Right.
movie has an Infinity Stone there where they're assembling, blah 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 blah, and now we're just kind of there's Moon Knight.
I feel like they're sitting on a big surprise with Quantumania with Jonathan
Kang
Majors.
is-
With Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
I was about to say Krang, and I was like, oh, that's I want to see him. I want to see the brain. Isn't that the Ninja Turtles? Krang.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the brain
yeah.
and the man. The brain and the man. I sound like Aunt Sassy.
Aunt Sassy.
And I was like, no, he was the brain. So I feel like there's a cult of secrecy around these things that just is it's starting to verge on. All right, calm down. But again, the fandom is like, where is Reed Richards? I'm gonna kill myself. Like there's so much intensity around that. So
I honestly
I
think
don't blame them. Yeah.
All that's the multiverse stuff. It's like when anything can happen, it just removes all the stakes. And to me, like I really enjoyed Shang-Chi and the Black Widow movie, like things that were defined by where they were. I don't know, like those movies were really fun to me, and I know this movie was fun-ish, but like, and I went into it with an open mind and an open heart, and I was excited. I was like, yeah, no, this is gonna be fun. But like, I honestly left. I almost left at one point. I was like, none of this means anything.
I will say, okay, yeah. So one, I wanted to Brett, you seem to know a lot about rumors. Do we think they actually so this is the big rumor that I kept thinking, but every rumor that I said out loud, that rumor is stupid, ended up being true for this movie. I remember I did a Insta Live where I was like, oh my God, I read the dumbest fucking rumor that Wanda murders the Illuminati. And how stupid would that be? And then it happened. I said out loud that there's no way in hell they'd ever bring back Black Bolt from their biggest failure of a TV
I know.
show.
I lost my mind over that. I love that.
Wait,
That
what
was-
show was from? Yeah.
Inhumans.
Inhuman.
It lasted 8 episodes and is the worst thing Marvel has ever done.
Oh,
And,
that
like,
was the
it's-
wig one. That was the wig one.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the wiggiest of the wigs.
where the main character.
Her power was having a wig and they buzzed her head.
Yeah, because I
Have
couldn't get her
wig,
wig right. Like I was like, there's no way they would do that. I remember reading that like Wanda was gonna die at the end, and I was like, she's so popular, give me a fucking break. That's stupid. I remember when I saw, like definitely confirm Patrick Stewart, and I was like, oh, give me a break. That's like fan cast, and then it was true. So the other rumor that I kept seeing is Tom Cruise filmed as Iron Man,
Oh my
and
god.
that now that they cut him out, they're saving him for Secret Wars.
Jesus Christ.
Oh,
can we not?
Jesus.
I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't see it and I won't acknowledge it.
So Ian, I think this was like I think this was what a lot of the boys wanted WandaVision to be, which was a cameo bonanza.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember
the
there being so
boys
much
loved
fury
this, yes.
around like, I thought we were getting Mr. Fantastic. I thought we were blah, blah. Like there was a lot of like anger about that. And like, there was like, oh, they kept it to the characters. But then this one didn't go as wild, I think, as it could have gone, but it still was like this felt, the Illuminati felt fan servicey.
I want to know, how do they, like, is Patrick Stewart still under contract with Marvel, or do they say, okay, we're going to write this character in and then see if we can get him, or do they get him and then write the character in? Like,
that's, I mean, like, for No Way Home, that's what they did, is they wrote the script and they were like, well, fingers crossed Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire want to do this. And
Oh,
they had to
really?
really convince Tobey. Oh, yeah. And so I feel like that was probably the same with, except I feel like you approach Patrick Stewart, who I think seems to generally...
Yes. Like,
But it's also weird because when Logan was touring, he was like, this is a beautiful way for like me and Hugh to like go out. Like there's so much finality. And so, but I don't know. Part of me is also like, maybe he just wanted to ride around that chair. Like he spent 6 movies. They never put him in the chair. And he's like, I've been seeing this chair on television. When do I get the chair?
And also imagine a role that you're just attached to, and it's, you know, however many years later.
Yeah.
How fucking cool would that be to go back and do that, you know?
And he's doing Picard. So yeah.
I have a question. I just watched Spider-Man No Way Home on the airplane last week, and I apologize. I'm sorry.
Did you like it, Tom?
Actually, yeah, it was fun. I thought it was fun. Why? I scanned the credits for Thomas Hayden Church and could not find him because I'm like, this sounds like a voice match, and they didn't seem like it actually showed his face. What happened?
Really?
Did he not?
No,
come back?
he's in it for a hot second.
No,
but
he's not credited. He's not in the movie.
Wait, I have the answer. I actually have the answer.
His voice. So,
Thomas Hayden Church and Jamie Foxx did not film new parts. Or no, not Jamie Foxx.
Reese Defons or whatever?
Yeah, the guy who played Reptile or Lizard. Yeah,
Lizard.
They did not film anything for that movie. They literally, the shot of Thomas Hayden Church where it is him in his human form, that's a unused shot from the third Spider-Man movie that they used. Because I read an interview with the director and they could not get those actors, but they were allowed to use, like, they just used sound bites from the movies. And that's why they never came out of their forms until like the end.
And that's not his voice. Like it sounds like him, but it is not him. Like that voiceover is clearly someone they hired to sound like.
Which is also weird, right? It's weird that like
Thomas Hayden Church, like, meh, I don't want to go back and do it. Like I got enough money. Who cares? Like, why would you not?
Right. Because it's not like Tom Cruise would make sense saying no, thank you. But like,
where it's just like maybe it's just like a schedule thing.
That's like an afternoon in the voiceover booth.
A schedule thing. What does Thomas Hayden Church do? He's so busy.
I'm sure there's a Wings reboot in the works. Tony Shalhoub's been stumping for it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've heard like maybe they don't. I've heard Marvel doesn't pay as well as we think they do.
That's
no,
true.
I bet they do not.
It's probably like the lead actors that are men that get the, like, you know.
I mean, if you're there for a day, they're like, you take $50,000, right?
Yes, please, Marvel, I will do it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But yeah, so I guess my issue with the Illuminati was that it felt cool, but it also like. The only things that were a surprise for me because of the trailers were Mr. Fantastic and Black Bolt, and like those. And I know you guys were just ragging on like wanting cameos, but for me, if I'm watching a movie called Multiverse of Madness, I want to see crazy bananas, like shocking shit, and like not another version of Wanda and another version of Doctor Strange, and those being the only like.
Yeah, it was not mad enough.
Yes, and it was not multiverse enough.
Yeah,
instead of like, oh, we're in a world where everyone's paint, like they're just like going through, and then you just see like a scene of people.
Yes,
just like oh my god, these 5 people are like sitting down at a cafe for like 5 seconds, and then you just proceed.
That like for me, that's like I felt like when they were like the coolest looking scene was them falling through the multiverses. I'm not going to pretend that's not because they definitely like. Used all of their budget, and like even the paint looked fucking cool, and like the way the sound was different in the way they floated differently, like that looked very cool. But I felt like it was a little bit of a missed opportunity for like, I don't know.
Whatever universe they ended up in was so bland. It was like
it's New York, but it's kind of 1940s.
Well, it was like the Utopia in Free Guy, right? Like it felt like that from when they arrived until she was like hobbling after them in the tunnels, like that was, and the Illuminati battle was kind of cool, but it was just like a really bland, like the sets were bland, the kind of acting was bland. It was like really
In
bland
this New York,
storytelling.
plants grow on the walls.
Right.
It's
Well,
just-
it felt when they first arrived, I literally was like, did they get the utopia picture from the meme of
The
like
meme, yes,
of
yes.
like this is what society would be like if Rihanna made the album or something like it would,
This is what society is like if Wanda didn't go through the trauma.
right.
Yeah.
Like,
Like literally.
it was like
Which
I was
is-
like oh this was like if Britney never had to go into the conservative like
Right,
it was something like great
Adam-
had happened. Yeah. Like,
It is so fucking funny that you brought that up because my
Like-
coworker Nicole, who I saw it with the second time, she after the movie she went, "Am I just like too online or like didn't that look like that meme?" And I was like, "Yes, it looked like that meme," and we
it's
didn't even
the
like say
same
it.
park with the future buildings and the forest on top of the building was like a marriage of nature and glass. Like it was just like
But yeah,
exactly the
like-
meme. Yeah.
It was like just looked like a slightly futuristic, but like I thought it was cooler. But by that point, I was exhausted. When Strange is in the universe that collapsed in on itself, that was cooler.
Everything
like-
that he
Right.
was in was just so boring. It was like him and America just running around with we spent again way too much time on a red light switch. Like, why
Right.
are we talking about that for so long?
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
unless he's going to get hit by a car, I don't give a
yes.
shit.
It honestly felt like Benedict Cumberbatch had so much more fun in Infinity War and No Way Home than
Yeah.
he did in either of his solo
he
movies.
must have been pissed. I heard he was pissed when he showed up on the WandaVision set and like saw what they were doing with her. And
Really?
Yeah.
The New York of that reality had, this is a deep cut, but it had Whoopi Goldberg in Theodore Rex vibes. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone.
I love that.
Tom,
Bring him into the MCU.
that's the thing. It should have been like Space Jam 2 levels of what? Like it should have just been like
Dinosaur
it should have just been like fucking Agent Scully and then like Giles. Like it was like anybody
Yes,
Disney owned.
yes.
Like, it was like
And like even when they were like filled through the animation universe, I was like, oh, that would have been a cool opportunity to like. I mean, like right, we're connected.
page master that shit. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
get in there. Get like make it feel like a fever dream, right? Because then where we end up,
Yeah.
I'm like, what are we doing right now?
It would have been like Wanda pursuing them through like it's like
That-
like
yes.
like and like or it just could have been like Wanda killing anybody in each universe to like get to them, and so it's like she like runs into Lois Griffin and cuts her in half.
Yeah.
Imagine that in like an animation style. That would be
Yes.
something that sticks with people.
That would have been mad.
Cool
Yeah.
to like end up in an animated. Just seeing what they did with that one animated Spider-Man movie. Like,
Yeah.
like if that segment would have been an animated universe, that would have been
Yeah.
so cool.
I will say that when they finally like hit the tunnels and they finally like, I don't know, there's a point where Sam Raimi's allowed to do Sam Raimi. And
yeah.
it's like wonderful, right? And we get all of like the the zombie stuff, and we get all the demons, and like it's just that should have just been the whole movie.
The haunted house on the beach in Iceland. I was like, okay, this is a set I enjoy. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say you hate the build up to that. I thought it was the end with, and I fucking hated it. But yes, I also I liked the way that looked. But then by the time we got to him fighting, I was like, all right, come on. Like I felt like exhausted by that point.
when it turned into
Piano battle.
Mickey Mouse Fantasia battle with like musical battle.
that was cool though. Come on, that was
It
like
was fun in
Fantasia
a very
fun.
dumb way. I was like, I like this, and
But
it's
that's
so
it's a
stupid.
comic movie. Yeah, that's anyway.
Were those supposed to be runes? Is that what that was?
Well, they were
I think
musical. He turned the musical notes and
into weapons. right?
weapons,
Right.
but they
Okay.
did change shape slightly. They didn't stay.
Isn't music really science? Honestly, so sorcery
Well,
and all sorts of things. Music can do everything.
It is math.
The
I
eye,
did-
the eye on the forehead was so stupid too. Like it
Okay,
looked
let's-
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
was
we have to
awful.
talk about the
You guy.
ending to the mid-credits transit. Like, what the hell?
Oh my god.
What's that? It ends on a great note where he's like, "Oh, I got off scot-free. Oh shit, I got a third eye." And then mid-credits is like, "Well, later that day, he's fine and going to like Bed Bath and Beyond.
My coworker Nicole that I saw that part with, she had a really good take. She was like, so wouldn't you be really weirded out if you were walking to Starbucks, this man is also walking to Starbucks, he screams in the middle of the street, an eye pops up, then he gets up and walks into the Starbucks that you're going to. Like, what's the
I have a feeling a lot of weird shit is happening in his neighborhood, and they all know it's Doctor Strange.
It had a Treehouse of Horror Simpsons vibe where like Homer was cursed to have his head be a donut, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And like it's like next week on The Simpsons, and he's like, "Oh, I'm eating my head." Like it was just felt very like he was very used to it right away.
Okay, but why was the CGI eyeball so flat and not like? Okay,
right,
you can do a 3-dimensional eyeball. Why does it look like you just?
It was a Snapchat filter.
Seriously.
Why haven't they done that yet? I am.
But yeah, the only thing I did like about that Evil Strange was I liked and I think it was, now I can't remember who said what because there's so many of us. I think it was you, Zach, that said for the end Raimi got to be Raimi, and like the way the movement of the evil Doctor Strange being thrown out the window and falling onto the like spiked fence. I liked that. I was like,
oh god, yeah.
Like that was cool, and like the way he so smoothly fell onto it felt very horror movie to me. The only thing that I was like, come on, if we're going to go for it, I wanted to see a blood splatter. Like, I needed a few blood splatter.
No, you got enough on her face. That was it. That was all you were going to get.
Why didn't we get to see Captain Great Britain get sliced? Like, they show her from the face up, but we didn't get to see it lodge into her body.
It got to be a PG-13.
It's Disney, man. Disney.
As someone who survived by the skin of his teeth the Batman Returns discourse back in 1992, like, if you get dark enough, like the society turns on you and then you never get to do anything dark again.
It felt like an approach to Drag Me to Hell, but like not quite there. It was like almost there.
I loved a lot of that, like a lot of similar haunted house shit was happening in this to Drag Me to Hell. Like I thought it was really, really cool and spooky how Wanda's pictures of herself turned to look at her while she was being possessed by her. I thought that was so witchy and weird and
again,
freaky.
like that should have played out just a tad bit longer. Yeah, just like a little bit longer, like
I
stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think like they did a lot of cool stuff about like her whispering, and I thought that stuff was like really, really cool and creative, like how she was able to get through.
And she was creepy, wasn't she?
Yes, and the puddles with the mirrors. I thought it was like so like those moments really just got me activated.
Her at what is it called? It's not Taj Mahal. What is it?
Kamartaj?
Whatever. Yes. Like on the verge of greatness. Like it was like a really great build up. The big billowing clouds and like her coming through that, and then like whispering in that guy's ear. Like that was so good. If they had like changed that to nighttime, if they had, I don't know, just like little things here and there could have made it like so. Just like one of the best things I've seen in Marvel. You know,
we've yet to discuss the book of Ashanti because I just kept in my mind. I just like Ashanti.
I know. Yes,
Ashanti,
same thing.
The singer holding a book.
And it's J-Lo after the book of Ashanti. You know,
I feel like I was a comic book kid before I was a gay kid or something because I'm like, book of Ashanti. Yeah, that's from my mind never even went to Ashanti at all.
No, I
and then I was like,
from that one episode of Buffy to like pop up because that's technically now a Marvel property or a Disney property, right?
Yeah.
So we could have had Ashanti from the episode of Buffy holding a book called the Book of Ashanti and singing. What was her song that she sang?
She had a couple.
She had a lot of songs.
But in the way like British, but then like some people would say Ashanti and some people would say Ashanti in this movie. It was very weird.
There was an I in there at one point, right? Ishanti or something like that. I don't know.
Well, everyone did say it a little weird.
Yeah.
But I'll go. I'm on Brett's side here because I'm like a big nerd first, and I was just ooh, they're talking about the thing.
You didn't think of the Ashanti, I was immediately like Book of Samantha Mumba, Book of Ciara. Like
because it's I don't know, it's the Ashanti with a V. It just never. that's what I heard. I don't know. So I never.
It's Ashanti or is it?
Yeah, it's VISA.
Okay, then they need a dialect coach because literally everyone said Ashanti or Ashanti. There was
no.
Everyone said Ashanti.
Listen for a second. They show up. They see the book. She comes like stepping out from behind a pillar, and we just like hear.
Thank you. Thank you
This
for that.
multiverse is mad. Yeah.
That's the madness, man. You know.
Zach, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for setting up a bit.
Oh
during
fuck
our-
yeah! Oh fuck yeah! Okay.
But like I the thing that bothered me about that was that, I mean, as Brett knows this already, like that's such an important book and they made it such a big deal. And then it was like, boop, doesn't matter. And for me, that's annoying. I know that's like a storytelling thing, right? To have like, ooh, here's the MacGuffin that's going to work. And then it doesn't. And then America's the MacGuffin. But like, I felt like just cut it out then. Just like, I don't know. Like,
can we talk about all of the things that like literally had no consequence? I felt like everything. There were no rules in this movie because nothing mattered.
Yeah.
Like when all the demons came out and we're like, you can't dream walk. But then he's like, I can control the demons. Well, then why is the Darkhold such a big fucking deal then if you can just control it, right?
The dream walking stuff was so it was like I had to keep in my head being like, how does this work?
Yeah.
And like
I will say the dreamwalking stuff, like as a plot device kind of works, but like the fact that it's just at the top of the movie, oh yeah, your Doctor Strange had a theory that all dreams are real. And he's like, oh, and him and Wanda's like, whoa, and then that's it.
Because
and,
like,
I was like,
yeah, if
these are like, this is the Sorcerer Supreme. He should know about that shit.
and if there are no rules and everything works, right? Then like maybe the solution, maybe when Wanda's like, give me America, you're like, well, actually, I can probably figure out how to give you children instead.
Right.
Like maybe, and then we'll cut out 2 hours, you know?
Right.
So I think a lot of and maybe this is just like me having headcanon, but like this was kind of like a way that I was kind of like digesting all of it was, to what Tom said, which is like the whole idea of multiverse stories. Like we've seen this and we've had this now multiple times, Spider-Man and Loki and everything, where it's just like there's different dimensions, there's different universes, there's a million different yous, it's all that. And like there is sort of a feeling of nothing matters. To me, that was how in my head, like maybe Wanda was justifying. She was like, who cares if I kill this one girl? Because like, I feel like she was the one person taking all this multiverse stuff to a nihilism place, which is like, nothing matters. None of you matter.
Yeah.
If there is a million of you, I will kill 500,000 of you. There are more of you. I don't care.
That.
Yeah.
I like
Well,
that.
at that point in the movie, that's when I started to resent everyone, and I was like, "Yes, kill this boring girl, kill her."
Well,
It would be so
that,
fun.
yeah.
I would love to see that right now. I'm on her side now. Sacrifice her on that pillar because at least something would happen.
Yeah.
But
And then when
instead it was
she-
just like, you had the power in it all along, and it goes back to Wizard of Oz. Like,
very much
really
how
did
that
all
felt.
this for nothing? She could have just
That was-
done it herself.
That was no good. I feel like that. Like I'm glad that someone like had a moment of because I feel like that would be a great many of us had were we to be faced with like evidence that there are a million other us's and they're all living better lives than we are. We would just go to a dark ass
I would lose
place.
my mind. I would lose my
And
mind.
if you had like in every other universe, like they were living like just vastly better lives than you would never like you would like rip holes through universes. You would kill anyone to get to that.
Oh, absolutely. And you would all never hear the end of it, unfortunately.
But like maybe you wouldn't have to feel like that if literally we're taking it back to Wanda. Okay, let's take out the personal out for a second.
Just say, don't tell me, please.
But like she needed a support system. Why is it that the only person who offered her anything was her fucking self? Right?
Yeah.
Like nobody gave her a thought. Nobody.
Yeah.
That still like blows my mind in this movie. That like
that's the thing. Yeah.
and
sorry.
I think it's very telling that in every other universe, Doctor Strange is a piece of shit. In every other universe, she is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I mean,
and that
she didn't need to rip a hole through the universe. Just go to therapy, sister. Come on.
Taking her to therapy. She's driving home in a Saturn. She's driving to an empty lot where Vision was going to build her a big house, you know? Like, the Avengers, Tony Stark is not even giving her a paycheck.
Like, I would love to see what Monica Rambeau,
Right.
Rambeau meets Doctor Strange and is like, so,
Yeah.
you talk to her? That's how you talk to
That's
her?
the thing. Like, I
Because,
feel like
that-
this is like we saw Monica Rambeau, and for a long while we had Agatha Harkness was the sounding boards for her, and this is like what happens when she goes and self-isolates at a lake for a while. It's, you know,
I mean, this is
bad
what
stuff
the pandemic
happens.
did to me too. Basically, I mean, I was me and my husband for a year and a half, and I was doing Instagram lives all the time.
I mean,
Like, what the fuck?
You get bored and you fuck around with the multiverse is what you do.
Yeah.
Or you start a horror podcast like me and Zach did.
There you go. There you go. That was our Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. So I guess.
Post mid credits, you got to talk about.
Yeah, let's talk about that because
my God,
Tom talk about it.
It was just like all of a sudden, like we just went to the camp, and I love camp, but we just went to the campiest. Like, enter Charlize Theron dressed as like Gem and the Holograms meet Shira, and we're just. It's okay. This is a new movie, and
Yes.
obviously, like I want to dress like as that for Halloween. But what? Who is she playing? What is this new superhero?
Clea.
Who?
I love her. I love Charlize Theron.
Clea?
But why is it always her? Why is it always her in everything? Playing the platinum blonde girl who's like tough. You know.
I feel like I will like her in the MCU, but bringing up the fact that the way the costume looked, everyone would rag on Marvel for being a little too grayscale with their movies. This movie made me think, ooh, I miss the grayscale a little bit because like some of these costumes without that look real fucking stupid. And this costume, while it was mostly vaguely comic accurate, she wears bright purple in the comics. It looked fucking stupid. Her purple eyeliner looked stupid. Her wig looked stupid. God.
It was so fun and stupid.
It was season 3 Shangela Judy Jetson Hooker.
Honestly, like after what I was the emotional state I was in at this point, where I was just like, "Fuck Doctor Strange, fuck this," and then that happens, and I'm like, "Okay, well." I'll watch the third one.
Are they setting up a new Doctor Strange movie, or is this going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy? Or
didn't it? I think at the end of the credits, it actually said Doctor Strange will return, like in the old school days.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like it's one of those like announce a Doctor Strange 3 movie without announcing a Doctor Strange 3 movie.
Was there? I didn't stay to the very end. Was there another thing at the very end?
Yes.
This is not happening.
There was.
I'm done. They took too much of my time. I was out. What happened at the very, very end?
Nothing.
Bruce Campbell's character, who was hitting himself for like 3 weeks, finally came to a stop hitting himself. Like,
and he literally looks at the screen and goes, "It's the end."
It was kind of funny. It was kind of funny.
It was funny.
It was funny.
No, I will say though, if we're talking about bad things people do, Doctor Strange saw a guy who was kind of a jerk and was like, "You're going to punch yourself for 3 weeks." Like that is
agreed.
Right.
Everything that they said about every Doctor Strange in the universe, when she said, "Oh, you're just like all the other strangers," very true. Yes, absolutely.
He's
Perfect.
an asshole, and he gets away with literally everything.
She says in this movie, it was in the trailer, it's in the movie, she says, "You break the rules and you're a hero, I break them and I am the enemy." And the movie pretty much said, "Yep, very true, very true."
And that should have been the thesis of the entire movie, because the two characters are such a parallel, like they are two sides. Like, it would have been so much more fascinating.
They were so similar that would have been, there's take out America Chavez and there was so much to explore there, you know?
No.
Tell me about, is the Bruce Campbell cameo, is that because, what did he do, Evil Dead or or Toxic
I mean, just like
Avenger?
Sam Raimi puts him in everything. So
Everything he does, he's in.
Okay, got it.
So
I think like everything he has a cameo. Almost everything Sam Raimi does is a cameo.
Pretty much,
he's the trait of the movie for me.
Yeah.
Did you say trade or trade?
Trey, I mean, old Bruce Campbell is hot.
I was going to say, I was like, well, that's the trade of the season is Bruce Campbell is the mustard guy.
Yeah, as the street vendor. I don't like when now I'm going to be the no fun guy. I don't like when these end credit scenes are something stupid, because then it's like, don't make me fucking sit through 20 minutes of credits. I want to see the joke online where it's like, you sit through 20 minutes of credits and you get blip blorp for the next movie and you're excited, but you have to explain it to everyone. I prefer that over like, haha, you sat here for nothing because like, I gotta pee. Let me go pee.
Exactly.
So like, we should respect all the craftspeople that put in so much time and risk their lives during COVID.
Not when they're going to roll it that slowly, though. My God.
They should just do that thing they do on the news where they like shove it off to the
Beat it
side
up.
and roll it really
Like
fast.
Mean Girls on VH1 before Drag Race, where it's just like they put the credits really small at the bottom and just speed through them in 10 seconds.
Yes. Okay, so as someone who was, who was sitting in the theater wearing a Wiccan t-shirt, what do we think is going to happen with the Wanda and her twins from here? Like, anything, yes or no?
I do have to give Marvel credit for zigging where I think they're going to zag, because I think that we all assumed, those of us that are like plugged in and nerds about this shit, we're like, oh well, this movie's obviously going to have Wanda. She's going to get the teen. But there'll be teens now, and there'll be, and they definitively did not do that, and they seem to just completely close the book of Ashanti on the chances of Tommy and Billy coming. I mean, like, that's done. I don't know.
Wait. I do think that now they're setting it up to be just like in the comics how Billy and Tommy exist, where it's like there's like the nonsense of like their souls were transferred to different, like a mom gave birth to Billy and Tommy, and like their souls were just transferred. I think now that's the only way they can go, because they did kind of close the door on those kids.
They could just hop over from another universe, right?
Well, I was going to say, why wouldn't the Billy and Tommy and Wanda from the Illuminati universe, who have all this knowledge now, like, why wouldn't eventually? Because here's my thing. Maybe I'm being silly, but like, didn't Loki end with like, oh no, now the multiverses are all combining? Like, is that not correct?
No,
we have not dealt with that at all. Like, I think
Loki created the multiverse is what they said, and then No Way Home, and then this have all kind of.
Wait, I thought
there's a lot of like they are not communicating well within Marvel Studios.
I thought in Loki that the idea that there are all these Lokis, the multiverse exists because there's all those Lokis. There's a fucking alligator Loki.
But they were pruning it. Like those Lokis all existed because they had been taken from their timeline, and so there was only one timeline, and then Loki ends with.
Okay, I thought
Jesus
this meant...
Christ, why is this so complicated? And so like it does feel weird because like. They're all talking about the multiverse as like, oh yeah, it's always been a theory. It's like, no, it just literally just happened. We just watched.
Well, I was going to say, like, there hasn't been like a direct conversation of like something has changed. I feel like the Loki impact has not been
felt.
Maybe it's just sort of there, but like I really thought it was going to be, those just going to be free passage between universes now or something. And I know now that I misread that, but I guess like it hasn't been addressed in any way in a year. So
and I was really upset that Strange's actions in No Way Home don't matter shit in this.
No, not at all.
From the trailers, I thought that the Illuminati was after him because he, I don't know, opened up gateways to all of the universes, and then he almost destroyed everything. And it's like, no, that just that bummed me out because again, like, where's that connectivity that Marvel is supposed to be so good at doing?
That's the thing. Like No Way Home, which I enjoyed, but was not a mega fan. Again, I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle on both Multiverse of Madness and No Way Home, where I feel like online, I wish No Way Home had a little less love and this one had a little more. Not that either one is, I think, super perfect, but I feel like the dichotomy of this one is super effing great, like, and this one is like super absolutely, put in the garbage disposal. I feel like it's a little closer to the middle, but like both of them felt like, where is the impact from here? Like what is the, like, after Loki? I don't think that's the thing with phase 4 where I'm like, I don't know where any of this has gone, because at the end of each one, there is not a momentum forward into another one. It's all little satellites. Like Moon Knight doesn't matter a stitch to any of this.
I do feel like Loki was the biggest culprit of that, because what was it, like the second episode where she blows up all the timelines and it's like, we see the TVA people like charging into battle, and then we just don't talk about it again, and then they do it again at the end where she kills Kang, and it's like, now what? Like, I feel like, okay, now what?
Right.
Like,
that's what I'm hoping for, a little more like, this is going somewhere. There is a...
But when are they going to take us somewhere? Because there's been a lot of projects up until now. When are they going to like take us somewhere? Okay.
And like, I wonder how much of COVID has to do with this, but like, I'm also
Right.
like, you are a bajillion-dollar company. I do not accept that as an excuse anymore at this point. Like, you definitely can work around and like do rewrites to like,
Yeah, that is like reshoots, editing. Like, yeah, you can
Better
figure that
wigs.
shit out.
yeah, get
Better
better
wigs.
wigs. I also, that brings up the point. I thought I was positive that I knew Tom Hiddleston was confirmed for this movie.
Right.
Was that not a thing?
I mean, I thought Nightmare was going to be the bad guy in this
Yeah.
movie, and they were keeping that a secret, and that didn't happen.
Yeah. There
No.
was just like a lot of,
It's
like-
just a hysterical woman. It's always a hysterical
Yes.
woman.
I want my baby.
yes, like, well, and then Kevin Feige said on the red carpet, well, what happened in Loki and then what happened in No Way Home, like, led to this, and that's why this is now happening. But it's like, what, how?
Hell,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Hell.
You gotta say that.
Because we said the word multiverse in it,
right.
you know?
Yes.
Do we, okay, so are we going to get the Wanda that went down with the tower, or are we going to get a multiverse Wanda?
See, I don't want them to do that. They already did that with Gamora.
I'm scared they're
And-
going to, though, right?
And so, like, this is the other larger note, and I tweeted something like this, is that, like, 5 years ago, it's very much like, yes, I love the leading ladies of Marvel, and then, like, now it's like, okay, well, so Black Widow's dead, Gamora's died and been replaced, Wanda went crazy evil and died, and Evangeline Lilly is an anti-vaxxer. So
Right.
it's like, it's like, if you were a lead Marvel lady, it's like Brie Larson's next. Like, she's gonna fuck up somehow, or she's gonna die, or because they just keep doing it, and I'm usually the most like glasses half full with this franchise, and it's like, Jesus Christ.
So it feels like the thing that they have been, if they have been setting anything up at all, it's been Young Avengers, because
Yeah.
they've been doing it in not as confident of a way, but it's
Right,
been they've been slowly introducing here and there, passing mantles. Like you would bring in America Chavez now, who is able to use her Mario star. I thought it was so silly that it was a star shape.
Mario Star.
I was like, why is it a star?
That's the comics. I don't know.
I know. I would rather that than just another vague, like, sort of circle. But like, I was like, this is so silly. I love it.
Does America have a character, like a superhero name?
She was Ms. America, but she's just America.
Yeah.
that's the other thing. Like this movie kept doing,
Because her name's America?
right?
Yeah.
Like that's the other thing is like maybe because this country is on its deathbed that I was there's every line of just being like, do you think America's gonna make it? Like it was like I was like no. I
Adam,
don't
you take
think
a drop
so.
from a cigarette, like, no.
They could have just nicknamed her Amy or something. I don't know. Come up with something. Star.
Or just been like like it was one of those like tough Marines and aliens just be like Chavez. We got to say Chavez.
There you go.
Like
I like your impression of a tough Marine from
I know, like I watch Aliens a lot. So, but yeah, I think that's why. So I feel like if they are setting anything up at all, it's got to be these young characters who have not strong enough agents yet to keep them out of every single movie. 'Cause I
But
think
hurry
that's the
the
other thing is
fuck
like
up.
everyone's such a star, they're only getting them for like one movie or two movies.
But yeah, I mean, Oscar Isaac's done unless he wants to come back. Like, yeah.
Right.
Is Elizabeth Olsen done? Is her contract finished?
Mhm.
No, they're doing like a bunch of Scarlet stuff, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She signed on, I forget. They said something, and Kevin Feige did say she will be back in other stuff.
I don't know if I want her back.
I do. WandaVision was her game changer.
You're under contract till you're 35, and then you're too old, and we're done with you.
Well, so,
Yeah.
okay, so the thing I keep relating to, again, is I don't think anyone here watched The Magicians, but it's a show I talk about all the time. And in The Magicians, there is a character named Julia who becomes like a god, and then she becomes like completely like doesn't give a shit and like will kill people and will like destroy things and just is very like nothing matters, so I can do this. And then she like loses her power, is not a god, and then gets her power back and like undoes all the bad shit she did. I can't remember if it's at the end of the season or the next season, but like there's a part where she had destroyed all of the crops and the forest in the like magical land, and she just goes in and completely rebuilds it with like her powers. And so I keep trying to think of it that way, where like if we got Wanda, maybe she could be like, all right, look, here are the magicians I murdered. Look, here we go. I'm just going to use my power because we don't have a defined power for her. It seems like her powers are she can do whatever, so which I'm fine with. So I feel like we could in theory be like, look, the people she murdered, she's now brought them back. And like, look, like the destruction she sowed, she's unsowed. And that's the only way I want her back. I don't want, that's it.
I feel like Marvel is ignoring the rules of good storytelling, which is defining the rules of the universe that you've built. So I hope they.
I think they're confused on the rules. I think somebody stopped writing it down at some point.
Yes. Well, and I need to point this out because I wrote this note down and I have yet to say it because I meant to say it when Tom was talking about Elizabeth Olsen's accent, unless I did say it, but I kept thinking every time she was like, I am not a monster. I kept thinking of the Lady Gaga bit that's in the trailer for House of Gucci where she's like, I am not a monster. I am a fair woman. Like, that's all I kept thinking.
That was the least of my worries here. You know, I was totally fine with the accent. I feel like we talked about nothing in this.
Here's my thing. I feel like Elizabeth Olsen missed a big opportunity to like really ham it up on the press tour for this and be like, I brought myself to the brink emotionally. I lived in a sleep deprivation chamber for days. I upset everybody on set every day. Like she just was
I murdered magicians.
Like I feel like she just like walked us that and was just like, I got my green tea latte and here we go. 1, 2, 3. Like she just and then just like delivered the same level of Joker insanity that like all these other men are just like, yeah.
Why is it always a man that's like, I need you all to treat me this way because I'm going to be method and be in character the whole time. Yeah. It's always an excuse to be an asshole. The person doing the method acting.
Oh, so did you all see that weird thing that went up on like the WandaVision Instagram over the weekend?
No.
Where it was like,
why are we following a WandaVision Instagram?
I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to do it.
No, like it was this funny, like it was like this 2-camera, like 30-second thing of like, hi, my name's Elizabeth Olsen. Scarlet Witch means so much to me, and I'm so honored to be able to continue. It almost felt like an apology or something. It wasn't. It was like a promo for the movie. But the way of just like, Scarlet Witch means means a lot to me. It felt like weirdly apologetic or something. Very strange.
Huh. That's interesting.
But it was clearly like just talk to the fans. But when I think about like, if you're a Scarlet Witch cosplayer and you go see Multiverse of Madness in the theater, like that's gotta. I was just wearing a Scarlet Witch pin and I felt like, I feel bad.
I mean, you can stand a villain, that's fine, but like,
oh, absolutely, she was amazing.
Well, no, I would stand a well-written one. I didn't think. No. I thought Kate Blanchett was a much more better, like campy,
100%,
basically.
Yeah.
Well, I think also like. Catherine Hahn, I think, did this like exquisitely. Yes. Like also like House of Harkness. Where does that go now that Darkhold is gone? And like it's like that's what I'm kind of wondering. Like, I know I'm like completely holding my breath here to be like, oh, they will bring in Wanda again, and they will bring in Wiccan and all these other things. But like, because eventually they'll have to, because these are the only few people left of the Young Avengers they've not introduced.
Right.
So they will just literally have to. Once they have dawdled enough. But I feel like House of Harkness is my new like I'm like friendship with Multiverse of Madness over. It is now House of Harkness I am pumped for. That will solve all my problems. Because I feel like a lot of us post WandaVision were like, oh, Multiverse of Madness, I just have to make it to that and then I'll just feel complete again. I'll feel whole again. That's why I think a lot of
I think I disappointed myself in not accepting that it was going to be a Doctor Strange movie and not the Scarlet Witch movie, When
I stick by my accusation that this was 100% marketed as like Captain America Winter Soldier was a Captain America Black Widow movie. I strongly felt that this was going to be a Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch movie.
I will say, like, I had a bad week mental health wise. I've been very depressed, and I was like, oh well. I have Multiverse of Madness to look forward to. And I think I was like definitely putting too much on that movie. So when like the moment she was like, aha, I said America's name and I'm evil and here's the forest, I was like, motherfucker. fucker.
And found no happiness. Had got no happiness by the end of that movie.
And honestly, like things went so ham in the first 15 minutes. I was like, well, this is obviously an alternate reality.
Yeah.
like this, yeah, we're going to be going to the real MCU in a second. And that didn't happen.
I did just watch that video on Instagram, and she literally says, I'm Elizabeth Olsen, and Scarlet Witch, or Wanda, means so much to me. From WandaVision to Doctor Strange, it's a story. And that's it. That's all we got.
Elizabeth Olsen, I hope she just keeps getting weirder because, like, again, like I feel like she did such fantastic work in this.
Yes.
You know, just despite Tom's accusations of whisper acting.
Whisper acting, it's like vocal. What's that called? Vocal fry.
Vocal fry.
acting.
Yeah, vocal fry.
It's hard to do that. It's sustaining that for 2 hours.
Yeah. She as the leading vocal fry person on this podcast, I have to say I feel very attacked. But like even just down to her, just like on like the freaking like hot wing show, just like cold ass eating.
Oh yeah,
twice as many hot wings and being fine.
She was seriously fine. It was just like, oh,
like,
this is hot.
That's the thing. Like she was like, that's when I was like, she might be Scarlet Witch in real life.
Wait, so you need to watch the Hot Wing show?
Listen, she's an Olsen. That whole family is a family of Scarlet Witches.
That's like she must like have like done like the manual third person thing where she just like her mind went away and she because like people are eating one wing on that show and crying and she was like this is yummy. Like,
I did that fucking challenge for my friend Liza's birthday, and like this is insane, but the only feeling I can relate it to is when I found my friend dead. That's how it made me feel.
Oh my god,
This is
those
a
hot
lot.
wings.
This is a lot.
Like,
I think we're done.
I was like, no one talked to me, no one looked at me, no one touched me. I threw up a shit ton in like an apartment that was not someone. It was like my friend's friend, and like that was after like 3. And she's just like, it's a little hot. Yeah, this is
yeah.
fun.
And then she just like pivots very, very fluidly into promo. She's like, listen, I'm just in New York City right now, and you know, go, you know, tune in to Disney Plus, and you're, you know. And
normally everyone else is like, by the time they get there, it's like, I don't know what I'm promoting. Throw water on me. Like,
well, it's to the point where like they did. Who was it? Maya Rudolph did Beyonce doing that like
which
on
so
SNL.
Good.
Where she just is like has to like disrobe. She's so like bothered by the wings,
and the way her voice is like pitching up and down is so good.
Right? She's like sweated her hair off.
Yeah, that was me after I took my shirt off because I was sweating so much when I did the wings.
Oh my goodness,
it was a lot. So I guess we're at the end here. We're gonna all say our favorite scene. Adam, what was your favorite scene?
Goodness. I think it was her like first confrontation with Doctor Strange, where she is. I'm not even saying names. I'm just going her. It was her. Where she, I think it was like her full. I'm gonna say it wrong. Just like Zach, you're in the same company. I'm like, I don't know what's the name of the Doctor Strange shrine that she attacks. The name of the
Kamartaj.
Yeah. So it's like her like sort of Helm's Deep. Except it's just her attack on that where she's just like battles through the stronghold. I thought every moment through her like whispering into the guy's ear and, and breaking the thing and getting in and getting into the mirror dimension and getting out through the puddles. Like I just thought every part of that was when I was like, so just like completely jacked in. It was great.
That is one scene. I agree.
Brett, what was your favorite scene?
Professor X trying to save Scarlet Witch in the White Room because that's just some X-Men bullshit that I have been waiting to see on screen period in so long, and I lived
with the little TV with the little WandaVision on TV.
And seeing that like that also just brought me.
I would like
a lot of
to not watch Patrick Stewart's Professor Xavier die on screen again. I'm good at number 3.
Yeah, it's happened a lot, but
for me that was like a scene that had such potential, and I felt like he should have been a formidable foe. Like, not like, okay, fine, if she has to kill them all, she has to kill them all, but like he should have been a little bit more formidable for her, for me, since he's like the premier telepath. I think my favorite scene, that just because this is the only time any of the emotional beats work for me, and it worked for me both times because I think Elizabeth Olsen is very good, is when she's like yelling at the kids and they're like freaking the fuck out. and like she cries and like she says, I'm not a monster for the 800th time, but then realizes finally that she is the monster and like the other version of her. I'm so mad that so much of this we saw and now Zach gets a lot like, don't show me the trailer. Normally I'm very pro trailer. I wish these trailers hadn't shown us so much because, we got that moment in the trailer where she's touching her own face, but it's like the good Wanda touching the bad Wanda's face while bad Wanda cries. That for me was when I was like, see, we can get the emotional beats in within this story because it worked there. I teared up both times.
Yeah.
Because like, especially that her whole point is the kids and then these kids are terrified of her. But I also kept thinking, why couldn't America have done this 2 hours ago? But whatever.
That scene was the moment those kids turned gay. Like they just turned gay. Like watching like just like full mother histrionics, like mother touching mother face. Like it was I was like, this is great drama. This is exactly mother of a gay son behavior right now.
I was gonna say yes, and like. Which I can't even remember if I mentioned this. I have it written down. Is how like in the beginning when Billy's like, I still want you to tuck me in, Mom. I'm like, oh, of course the gay son still wants you to tuck him in.
It's like, oh, it's already started.
Tom, what was your favorite scene?
I liked when it was Doctor Strange as Hamlet in the haunted house. Wasn't it? It was like definitely Hamlet, Prince of Denmark vibes, right? Am I the only one who thought that?
A bit.
He was like, look at me, I have range. And that's sort of like the Fantasia Mickey Mouse fighting musical fight. I liked that.
All right, Zach.
Same thing as Adam said. I think that was just. I don't know. I just think she was really good in that, and I got really juiced watching it.
Yeah.
All right. What grade do we give this movie? Let's start with you, Adam, because I know you're going to have the best grade, probably.
Why are we doing this part? Why are we doing this?
Why are you? I was like, why are you putting me through this? You're going to make me say.
Do we not want to? We can bypass grading. Do we want to bypass grading?
No, this is fine. I will do it. I think all the Wanda stuff deserves an A. The rest of it, we'll see. But like, I just have to say, like, poor Benedict Cumberbatch, like, just like. Fully, like, it just must be hell being on the press tour for this, knowing like none people are here for him.
Yeah,
like, just very Jackson Maine vibes. But yeah, I think like everything. It's I feel like that's why I'm able to give multiple grades in this because it's a multiverse of grade madness. But also because it is such disjointed. It feels like 3 movies in one. So. I feel like they did have to. I feel like nobody expected WandaVision to be a success, and like on set they had to go shit. Fix it.
Yeah.
Like, and they did what they could because, like, again, like there was the clues were everywhere that they were not expecting WandaVision to hit as hard. So I do feel like like there's 3 movies in one here. One of them being the Wanda story, which is an A. The other one being a Doctor Strange story, which is C+, and then the America Chavez setup story, which is B-. So,
Tom, what grade do you give this movie?
I'll say this with love and kindness because I'm open to appearing in future Marvel franchises, and I've loved a number of the films, such as I mentioned, Shang-Chi and the Scarlet Black Widow. I'm giving this a C, bro.
That's fair. Brett, what is your grade?
C.
Okay, all right. Zach?
I don't know if I'm going to grade it just yet. I feel like I am going to get to a point where I accept it for what it is, and I wonder what I'll think of it at that time.
All right, fair enough.
Listen, Zach is valid because that is like... That's kind of my thing. Like, I feel like this. I feel like this is going to be one of those like sort of good bad movies that will like be like even people who are like, I hated it. And, like in 20 years, will be like, God, I can't stop thinking about that stupid star dimension thing. Yeah, there's some stuff that's going to live in people's minds.
I mean, like once we see, I need to see where Wanda goes next, and then that will 100% affect how I view this movie.
Yeah.
Because Endgame happened and my husband actually had to like talk to me for about 2 hours to get me from having an existential crisis about the blip in the 5 years. Because I was like, this breaks everything. And now that I've seen that they don't really give a shit about it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. Yeah. I don't care.
They really don't. I will say, at first I was a D, but then I saw it a second time and I talked to Adam on the phone and I'm like, all right, so I'm also at a C. Like, I've definitely gone up.
Why are we defending it? Why are we like, well, if I look back in 5 years, I might think it's a good movie? Be honest with yourself. If you can't give it a grade right now, it does not get a good grade.
Wanda Maximoff, she deserves it.
What? Who cares? She's not real.
She is real. She is
Murdered
real.
that woman and just gone to her stupid universe.
She's not a monster.
Listen.
She's a mother.
Oh my God.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy
Exactly.
Mother's Day.
Listen, Andrew Wells, those characters are real.
Oh my God.
That's why we love them.
Oh
These
my
beloved
God.
characters.
He sits on here and tells us Buffy Summers ain't fucking real. I'm about to lose my shit.
She's not real. Get a job. Move on
Oh
with
my
your
God.
life.
Guys, thank you guys so much for checking into Slayerfest 98. This has been a fantastic episode.
Everyone listening to this is a sap.
Everyone stopped listening a half hour ago. Thank you all for joining me. This is actually a lot of fun. I enjoyed talking about this movie that I felt weird about. But yeah, this is a lot of fun talking about it with you boys. I like when it's just a bunch of gays yelling about something. If you like Slayerfest 98, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can also support us on Patreon, where you can get access to all our bonus episodes, which release about 4 to 5 times a month. You can get access to our Discord server, our private Facebook group, and a lot of other stuff too. And if you want to follow us on social, we are at SlayerFestX98. I am at Ian X Carlos. Adam, where can everyone find you and buy your books?
You can find me on all socials at the Adam Sass. You can pre-order my upcoming YA book, The 99 Boyfriends of Micah Summers, wherever you buy your books, or you can right now purchase my YA thriller, Surrender Your Sons, wherever you buy your books.
And Brett, where can everyone find you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brett White, and you can read what I write at decider.com, where I just finished Moon Knight coverage, and now it's all circle all the time, baby.
I love it. And Zach, where can everyone find you?
You can find me, search Coffin Tequila. It's a talk show for people who love stories, storytelling, and My Bloody Judy, a horror podcast I do with yours truly, Ian Carlos Crawford.
And Tom, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on the internet, and you can listen to me and Felicia Day undress your favorite shows, including The Witcher and Bridgerton and more at the Undressing Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, thank you boys so much. This was a lot of fun. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you. This will be, as of right now, this will be the last episode of Slayerfest 98 until June, when we start our Angel coverage, where Zach will be one of our co-hosts. But yeah, so we'll see it. We'll see you next time. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.